Hello everyone, welcome back to the DaniyalZi show. This is our second episode and we are joined by Bassem, Elghawaby. Elghawaby?
Yeah. You were pretty close. So
okay, yeah,
it's
good. It's fine. He is the owner of Grassroots. It's a multimedia organization in Ottawa. It's been running for a few years now and he is taking it off. He is taking it to the next level, and that's what we're going to be talking about on this episode of the DaniyalZi show. How you got into Grassroots? How did it start? And how did the hustle start? Where did it come from?
It started through collaborations at Algonquin College, right? So I first back in 2008 I took a program in the School of Business. And it was at the time it was called Small and Medium Enterprise Management, right? And that really kind of planted the seed for wanting to be an entrepreneur and stuff. So I got out of that program and I was all, I want to get into business and do my stuff and all of this stuff, but sometimes the line to success isn't a straight one, so I did a lot of retail and stuff, did some different jobs, and then I realized, I saw the trends that things were going into social media and technology and all of this, so I saw that there was a program a couple of years later called e-publishing at the college, Algonquin College again. So I was like, this would be a perfect fit to join into the entrepreneurship thing.
So this college course introduced you to this entrepreneurship kind of life?
Yes.
And that's how you got into it?
And that's how I steered myself into the whole multimedia and using technology and all of this stuff. So that's how I zeroed in on that type of business that I wanted to do. And then I became friends with the coordinator of the program then. And a couple of years later, he was doing the next adaptation, which was mobile social media management, which was, the first one e-publishing was all about using laptops and stuff like this.
Yeah.
Now it was using mobile devices, creating videos.
Well, exactly, right? Everyone got into mobile devices, so you need to start marketing, learning how to market with mobile devices, and
exactly.
That was probably the first time it was being done.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and I believe in continuously learning, right? So I was the only person from e-publishing that jumped and took the next adaptation in the mobile social media management. And since this was my third program at Algonquin, I kind of came in with a little game plan that, I want to benefit as much as possible from this program. And final semester, there was something called Media Lab, which was an academic industry partnership, right? And you had to seek out an organization and work with them. And you had the option of working with the team. So at that time, I felt that I was getting good at identifying people's skills and potential. So I recruited 2 people from my class to work with me. They could have picked any organization on their own company and found their own route to success. But I decided to go for a nonprofit that was near and dear to me in Ottawa, called the Anxiety Disorders Association of Ontario. And out of that, we did, I reached out to them. They were grateful to have some help, right? And then we helped them, revamp their website and create some multimedia pieces.
So was that the first major thing you did with your business?
That was right before. That was the final semester, and right before I launched the business at the end.
Okay, yeah. So you wanted to get that experience first through an NGO.
Yeah.
Launch them up, get them all. That's important.
Yeah.
Once you want to start a marketing business, too many people nowadays, they just get into it. They're like, I'll make an Instagram page. I'll put CEO in the bio, and boom, you're an entrepreneur, marketer, and you know everything. But it's really important to do those key tasks. Get a client for free, work for them for free for a while, and then learn to get that experience.
Exactly. So, and kind of the founding principles of Grassroots Multimedia, grassroots can mean different things to different people, that term, but it's kind of sometimes people can use it as a kind of cliche, corporate social responsibility or social enterprise and stuff like that. So of course, from my programs I learned that, you have to be sustainable and make a profit, but also the social aspect and making an impact in the world is really important to me. So that's why, in the projects that I did afterwards, the first few projects, or first main project that Grassroots did in partnership with Elghawaby and had also kept that connection with that nonprofit. We did an event with the college about digital communications, got expert speakers from Ottawa, and we gave that organization an awareness booth. They got to speak a little bit in the interlude, and we gave some of the modest proceeds to them from the event. So that was a bit of that, yeah.
What kind of stuff are you doing nowadays, so present 2017, and what's your plan for 2018?
Okay, so those are the, it's just, I mean, as you know, like digital marketing is just huge, right? And there's always things changing and trends and everything,
Well, it's day trading, right?
Yeah.
Because it used to be that marketing could change like a year to year, and now it's every single day you got to keep up with new trends.
There's a lot of more like web marketing or digital agencies that are doing the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
So the key is to do it a little differently or to focus on a niche, right? So right now, I've been pivoting Grassroots Multimedia to focus on the niche of helping personal development coaches and authors and speakers to increase their digital presence, right? Scale their business through online membership sites in some cases, or facilitate them building online courses and connecting those to Facebook groups, building engagement. And now I'm really kind of diving deep into LinkedIn as well and seeing how I can help with that.
Well, that's smart, right? Like
Yeah.
you have over 450 million users on LinkedIn now, and at the same time you're able to use this huge network of people. Like 43% of North Americans, millennials, look at their Snapchat every single day, at least once per day.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, like on Snapchat you get right now $3 to $5 CPM, so cost per 1,000 views impressions.
Yeah.
And that's $3 to $5.
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna last for the next 5 years. It's just gonna
The cost to get in, right?
Yeah,
the cost entry.
the cost entry.
When these, like as Gary Vee has talked about, like when these big companies that are still pouring ads into the Super Bowl and all these television and radio and everything catch on that they can get a much bigger ROI. I mean, they're already doing that to some extent. But when they really go all in, that might drive the prices up for the lean and mean entrepreneur.
Yeah, exactly. Once the big corporations realize what they're missing out on, like the cost instead of $3 will be $50.
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
it is on Google now. So what were you doing? Like you're doing all these cool things now. But like when you were 10, 15 years old, like did you have these hustles going on? Were you buying and selling stuff or flipping things?
I was kind of an introspective type person, when I was younger, like kind of a thinker. Like I remember when I was young, I would one of those kids that liked the Lego and building things and that type of thing. And also, I was really into chess as well, and I was pretty good at it. Not as good as my dad, who was like really advanced. So I like to play everybody else except him.
Okay.
Yeah, so
one day you just you gotta go beat him and just
exactly. We'd play and then he'd be like beating me big time, and then he's like, okay, let's turn the chessboard around and I'll use your weaker position and still beat you. So that was pretty funny. But I was just as I grew up some more, I was really into creativity as well, and I really discovered, like a little bit older, 16, 17, creative writing as an outlet for me, right? Poetry and journals and this type of thing, and I've carried that on, doing some blogs and sharing in Facebook groups and that type of thing.
So speaking of that, you do have your book here, and so Bassem actually bought his book. It's
the unreleased.
It's an unreleased book. Is going to be coming out when?
So it's been. I started writing it 20 years ago, so it's a collection of writing over that time, right? So it's kind of like my life story told over years, and it was the writing. I'll give you a bit of context. Was an outlet for me. It was it's themed, right? So it talks about some personal things in my life that's really driving me now, right? I'm going to be more. When it comes out, I'm going to be more public about it, but it talks about kind of lived experience with mental health challenges, right? It talks about anxiety as well and overcoming that, that's why I reached out to that nonprofit that helps people with anxiety, and it also talks about something that's really powered me forward, which is faith as well.
So you talk about that through your verse, through poetry?
Through poetry and journal writings, and if you read like the first third of the book, you'll get really depressed because it's a progression, right? Like I was diagnosed with a mental illness when I was 17 years old. And I started writing the book around that time, so that'll clue you in that I'm 37 now, but for the last many years, I wake up and often I don't remember that I have a mental illness or whatever. I've just been able to move past it through.
Well, you hustled through it, right? You powered through it.
I powered through it. I didn't know I would make it back in the early days, but so now my motivation with this really is to kind of reach out to that 17-year-old that would have been like me, right? And be able to tell them, okay, you can get through this.
Well, that's what this show is about. Let's give them some motivation. Would you mind sharing some poetry?
Sure. So there's a lot here, but I'm going to share one for your audience. So this is, I've shared some stuff on private Facebook groups and blogs and stuff, but I'll share one called Spur a Movement. This is a continuation of what came before, and a prelude to what the author has in store. If he's given a tomorrow to add to today, and make tangible the dreams from yesterday, it's time to unwrap the present and make it take a stand. For this is no time for the deliberation of past commands. So let's get to the point of this pen to paper caper. Let's formulate an action plan and into a navigational state. And let not all these words agitate over an unsure fate. So cut me loose from the form-fitting noose. Let the content jump to the front from the caboose. I cannot but fall short of perfection. This is but a pursuit and expression, an experiment in sharing. So what do I want to say now that I might have your attention? I don't want to be a leader, but I want to spur a movement. One that garners strength out of supposed weakness. One that empowers an oppressed mentality and exposes the true cowardice of the bully. I'm not a hero, a virtuous sage, or a martyr. Not at this stage in any case, but I have been an observer taking detailed notes. I have traveled through the darkness of mental illness and seen the light that can only be viewed through experience. That makes me question the labels too easily assigned. I have faced bullying in part of my youth, tinged with racism I didn't recognize at the time, combined with wanting to belong to that same group in an unhealthy cycle of cruelty mixed with a kind veneer. I have left that distant sphere, and whatever remnants remain is just part of life's deal. I feel almost compelled to write, and at times it's been more like channeling. Though whoever we are, we need to match words with deeds. Can the poet ever establish credibility unless he remains on the battlefield? Whether that be fighting, volunteering, or dedicating oneself to a worthy goal. And could my worthy goal be sharing my journey with others and combating stigmatized subjects at the risk of being judged this way or that? Perhaps, but I don't want to be a leader. I want to spur or encourage a movement that may already exist in some form. And if you've heard this to the end, maybe just by a shift of thinking, you're already on board.
Wow. You know what was my favorite line out of that?
Yeah.
One that garners strength out of weakness. I think every single person who wants to be an entrepreneur can really learn from that one line.
Mm-hmm.
Like every single person who that comes from a disadvantage,
right?
Whether it be mental illness, whether it be being born in the slums, being born in anywhere, like those kind of disadvantages, when those same people turn them into advantages, I've learned, they become like the stories that you read about.
Right, exactly.
So like honestly, that's something that every single person should be hearing, and that's certainly like it's a positive motivation, inspiration.
Yeah.
Is that something that first time on this show that you've said it publicly?
Well, I've shared here and there some poems, like,
Okay.
but I, you know, like, this is the first time I come and bring out like my whole manuscript
Your whole
here,
manuscript.
and kind of I'm announcing it to the world that I'm gonna be coming out with it in that way. You know what I mean? So
Why not? You know,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
especially this trend right now, the entrepreneurial trend,
Right.
and many people aren't utilizing their talents properly,
Right.
right? Like they're falling on their weaknesses, but they don't realize their weaknesses can be strengths.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I've been, you know, there's a lot of people that can use, you know, creativity and their artistic talents in the digital space. Like, you might have heard of, you know, I was just watching a TED talk the other day. It was like it was about this platform called Patreon. You know?
Patreon, yes.
Yeah. So I was talking to one of my other friends who's in Toronto now, and he's a spoken word artist, and he's, you know, he has themes to his things and stuff. So we're talking about, okay, you know, why don't you get on there, and maybe, you know, when I have some time, I'll get on there too. And you know, if you've heard that talk, he talks about, it's like, you know, back in you know, sometimes centuries ago, like Shakespeare, like he would write his plays and he'd have a patron, like, you know, the aristocrats, they'd finance him, and he would just do his creativity and share that with the world. So now you can start a little profile.
A lot of YouTube channels have that too, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if you've dived into Patreon a little bit, but you put in your other social media accounts,
Yes.
they link there, and I mean, you can have a membership of, you know, even just 1,000 people and a few patrons, and like I saw one example, guys making like $5,000 a month from it, right?
Oh, yeah.
And just focusing on that, being creative, right?
Well, that's another topic to dive into. How do you make actual cash from these websites like Patreon, or even GoFundMe? They're almost kind of the same types of a coin.
Right.
And for me, I think the biggest way to do it is just going through personal branding. Right. Just or branding your company.
Yeah.
Like the top few items on GoFundMe or Patreon, they're the ones with the best kind of like digital way of showing themselves. Like they'll have the best video, they'll have the most shiny product.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work,
So you're kind of doing that now, right? With the show and stuff like that.
Well, not exactly.
Yeah,
For
so-
this has been just to completely just provide value
Okay.
and start documenting things I've learned from other entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's because I talk to so many every single day, and they all have such amazing stories to share.
Yeah.
Like, why not share that with everyone else? I have my digital firm where and that digital firm is doing great, but the thing missing was there wasn't enough of there was enough of passion. And my passion was really just to talk to people,
Okay.
and and show them to the world, like especially Ottawa entrepreneurs.
Right.
It's such an up and coming city
Yeah.
that I don't think it's being really undervalued right now.
Right. Exactly. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on
for sure.
Amazon come to Ottawa. Have you seen the video for Amazon? Ottawa actually made a huge city made a huge bid,
Yeah.
and their video was insane. They spent a lot of money, and they're like, "We'll give you like all this land. We'll pay for everything."
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool of them.
Yeah, I mean, I read an article about kind of, you know, there's different views on it. Some are like, you know, we shouldn't be like, you know, really lobbying them that hard that we need them or something, you know. But like, I mean, there's a lot of benefit.
But at the same time, we should like
make the city receptive for companies to come in. Yeah.
Having that alone would make this whole city turn into one of the smartest cities in the world. Just from that gigantic factory, because then you can have like drone deliveries going everywhere.
Yeah.
All that kind of
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's a lot that could have happened there, but you know, Ottawa's still got you know.
Have you ever worked with
high tech sector and stuff like that? You know.
Have you ever worked with Amazon? Have you ever done anything for them?
Not
To
specifically,
your
no.
brands?
No, not specifically. I'm using different things for membership sites and different platforms and stuff, but I haven't really gotten into the Amazon. I know that's a
I think there's a huge market for Amazon coaches right now.
Yeah.
Because it's such a huge player in the game right now, and
Right.
everyone wants to start flipping things on Amazon.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh, for me for sure. Like I was flipping things when my first flip ever was 11 years old. I got a $75 loan from my parents, and I bought a Windows PDA smartphone, those really old school ones, and I flipped it for $200 the next day on eBay. And then I was like flipping cars when I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
I got my first car. I couldn't drive it, but I could sell it, so I was running like a car dealership off the
Nice.
front lot for a couple of
Nice,
years.
yeah.
So like that kind of hustle, the flipping hustle, I still do, man.
Yeah, that's it.
Especially on Amazon, I'm doing a lot of research. I think there's a lot that can be done through it. Are you planning on turning your company towards researching on voice technology and voice multimedia marketing?
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, like some of the advice I've gotten from other mentors is to really finish focusing on a certain niche, and then once you have something built, move on. Honestly, I haven't really gotten into that area too much, but so you've been looking into it.
Well,
a bit?
talking to someone like yourself who's like
Yeah.
definitely more experienced in this
Yeah.
in marketing, like and learning like what they think about like voice technology, where now you can now you must have heard about the Google Home Assistant
Right.
and Alexa
Right,
voice,
right.
and you can just have the Home Assistant in your house, and you can tell it, hey Alexa, what's the weather today? Hey Alexa, can you order me a toothbrush?
Yeah.
Like whose toothbrushes comes up? Who is like right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like who is advertising? How much does those advertisements cost?
Yeah, exactly.
So-
I mean, that reminds me. I saw Blade Runner recently. I don't know if you saw it.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
but I do want
but
to.
they have kind of really taken that concept to the
extremes?
max. Yeah, yeah, but yeah.
Well, is that something you're going to be looking into?
For sure, you gotta keep on those trends. Like I said, digital marketing is huge, right? So gotta keep with your peers and kind of research through talking to others in the industry and also your own. Like for instance, you really got to do your homework. I have another friend I worked with for a bit, and then he got like a full-time work for this search company and stuff, and then he does the full-time thing. He goes home, spends 3 hours researching industry, and really, like I talk to him on the phone. We check in every week or two. He's in Toronto, this one as well, and basically, we have like a 2-hour conversation. Just like that's just scratching the surface.
Well, just as most marketing influencers are saying these days, the thing that saves you the most time is the thing you should be on as a marketer.
Right.
And voice saves the most time.
Yeah.
When you ask a machine for the weather and it tells you, without you start taking out your phone from your pocket, that's when everything changes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of my big kind of thing right now. My big research is all going towards that.
Researching industries. And really, like I talk to him on the phone. We check in every week or two. He's in Toronto, this one as well, and basically, we have like a 2-hour conversation. Just like that's just scratching the surface.
Well, just as most marketing influencers are saying these days, the thing that saves you the most time is the thing you should be on as a marketer.
Right.
And voice saves the most time.
Yeah.
When you ask a machine for the weather and it tells you, without you start taking out your phone from your pocket, that's when everything changes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of my big kind of thing right now. My big research is all going towards that. So we always end the show off with some sort of advice you can give to entrepreneurs. So you were talking about those 17, 18-year-olds maybe struggling with some sort of issues.
Right.
What would you say to them, and if they have any passion to go out and do something?
Okay, so what I would say is really what's helped me be successful, and I'm still aspiring to grow more, but be successful in terms of my mindset and how I feel about where I'm going. It's really about reaching out, and looking for being able to know what your strengths are, but also know that you don't know everything, right? So what's really been rewarding for me is the relationships I've built over the years, and like it started like, you know, those early years. I went to college, and you know, I was in and out or whatever, but then when I worked on myself through personal development and just working on myself, I went back and I really realized that, okay, you go to your courses, and let's say it's in the business program, you have like people from industry that, you know, they get paid consulting fees and stuff like this, instead of like, okay, I want to leave class as early as possible, you know, stay a few minutes later and ask some questions, right? Get that free advice, right? Build those relationships, look for help, like, you know, Simon Sinek, he talks about this.
Right? Don't be afraid to voice yourselves.
Voice yourself and ask for help, and we're interdependent, right? That's how there's dependence, there's independence, and the highest level is interdependence, right?
Yeah.
Where, you know, you can't do stuff on your own.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree with you.
Yeah.
They do need to hear those words.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching the DaniyalZi show. This is our second episode. We're going to be linking all of Bassem's links on our blog, on our social medias. Go check him out. Give him a message if you want to connect. And thank you for watching. All right, take care, guys. Bye.